Sudan today isn't just a country in crisis, it is sitting on a treasure chest. Beneath its dusty plains lie vast deposits of gold, uranium, and other highly strategic minerals. And as the world shifts toward green energy, these resources have become a powerful magnet. But this isn't just about mining. Control over Sudan's minerals is fueling a brutal war, funding rival powers, and shaping global alliances in shadow. Once we pull back the curtain, what we see is a tangled web. The civil war in Sudan isn't solely ideological, it's deeply economic. Armed groups are digging gold out of the ground, and that gold is flowing out at an astonishing rate, much of it going to wealthy nations who are backing factions, one way or another. This isn't just trade, it's geopolitical leverage by another name. For countries like the UAE and Russia, Sudan's mineral wealth presents a rare chance to cash in, project power, and secure strategic footholds in a region that matters for global trade and energy futures. At the same time, Sudan's own people are caught in the middle. Their natural wealth could be the ticket out of poverty, yet, instead, the mineral rush worsens the conflict, corrodes governance, and traps the country in dependence. In this video, we are going to unpack how Sudan's earth minerals became both a blessing and a curse, why so many countries are staking claims, how the money actually flows, and what that means for Sudan's future and for the broader global struggle over resources and power.
Chapter 1. Mineral wealth of Sudan. Sudan is one of Africa's most mineral-rich nations, thanks to vast deposits of gold, iron ore, uranium, and even rare earth minerals. Geologically, more than half of Sudan is underlain by basement complex formations, which are fertile ground for precious and strategic metals. VCDA.AFDB, or gold, is by far the most extracted and economically significant mineral, with tens of tons produced annually. VCDA.AFDB.org. Beyond gold, preliminary surveys suggest that Sudan may have reserves of cobalt, copper, lithium, and other minerals critical to the global energy transition. VCDA.AFDB.org. Despite this huge potential, many of these resources remain underexplored due to infrastructural challenges, weak governance, and ongoing instability. As we unpack Sudan's resource wealth, it becomes clear that this isn't just a local story. This mineral base has become a focal point for global powers. Chapter 2. After the loss of oil revenue following South Sudan's secession, Sudan leaned heavily on gold to generate foreign exchange. Sudan independent, net artisanal mining, often poorly regulated, employs over 1 million Sudanese, creating a vast decentralized gold extraction network. SudanIndependent.net. The output is huge, but so is the leakage. A significant portion of Sudan's gold production doesn't go through formal export channels. Estimates suggest that between 50% to 80% of the gold is smuggled out of the country each year. SudanIndependent.net. This gold rush has become a parallel economy, one that bypasses the state, enriches private and often military-linked actors, and undermines public finances. Instead of rebuilding infrastructure or public services, Sudan's gold wealth is frequently diverted into opaque networks that fuel conflict, corruption, and external exploitation. Chapter 3. In the ongoing Sudanese civil war, gold has become the lifeblood of both major armed forces, the Sudanese Armed Forces (SAF) and the Rapid Support Forces (RSF). Chatham House. Much of the extracted gold is being converted into cash through smuggling networks and informal trade corridors. According to reports, 100 kilograms of gold may leave Sudan daily, financing weapons, fuel, food, and fighters. Arab News. The formal official production and export numbers are just a fraction of the real picture. Corruption, underreporting, and smuggling make the true scale of gold extraction hard to quantify. Opening parenthesis. SudanPeaceTracker.com. External actors amplify this war economy by providing markets, liquidity, and logistical back channels. The result is a vicious cycle. Gold funds war, and war makes gold more valuable, especially in the global black market. Chapter 4. Several foreign powers are deeply entangled in Sudan's mineral war, most notably the United Arab Emirates and Russia. The UAE is a major destination for Sudanese gold. As much as 90% of Sudan's officially exported gold is reported to go to the UAE. The Guardian. The Kremlin is also heavily involved. Through its private military company Wagner, or its affiliates, it has secured mining concessions in gold-rich areas. Wikipedia. The RSF, under Hemedti, has close ties with both Russia and the UAE. Wikipedia. These external powers are not just buyers, they are deeply invested in controlling the extraction process, influencing local power structures, and leveraging gold to project geopolitical power. Their strategic interest goes well beyond profit. Sudan's mineral wealth offers a way to finance proxies, secure influence in the Red Sea region, and ensure access to critical resources. Chapter 5. The UAE's strategic role. The UAE's involvement in Sudan's gold trade is central to its geopolitical strategy. Through companies like Emerald Resources, a Dubai-registered firm, the UAE controls major mines, for example, the Kush mine, which resumed production under Russian UAE management even during the war. Emerald's subsidiary, Alliance for Mining, claims to be Sudan's largest industrial gold producer. Opening parenthesis to uko.co. Kenya News. The money flows in both directions. Gold is exported to the UAE, and in return, cash funds armed groups, weapons procurement, and military operations. Arab News. But this isn't just transactional. The UAE also gains political leverage. Through its patronage of the RSF led by Hemeti, the Emirates gains influence, and perhaps even some strategic foothold in the Red Sea region. The Guardian. Meanwhile, critics warn that this dynamic turns Sudan into a resource colony, where gold is harvested not for national development, but to serve external ambitions. Chapter 6. Russia, Wagner, and strategic ambitions. Russia's involvement in Sudan's mineral sector is rooted in both economic and strategic motivations. Wagner, the notorious Russian private military company, has been active in Sudan for years. Wikipedia. Its presence is not accidental. Wagner-linked companies extract gold from Sudan, convert it back to cash, and channel that wealth into other Russian operations. Wikipedia. As part of its broader geopolitical game, Russia has eyed a naval foothold on the Red Sea coast, making Sudan's strategic location very attractive. Through its gold-backed networks in Sudan, Russia is not just extracting resources, it's building enduring influence. Moreover, gold revenues help Moscow circumvent Western sanctions by tapping into less regulated markets and cross-border smuggling routes. In this way, Sudan becomes both a resource base and a financial lifeline for Russian strategic interests. Chapter 7. Environmental, social, and human costs. Behind the glitter of gold lies a grim reality. Artisanal mining in Sudan often uses toxic chemicals like mercury and cyanide, which contaminate soil and water, putting miners and nearby communities at risk. SudanPeaceTracker.com. There are reports of health crises, cancer, kidney disease, and neurological damage among people living close to mining zones. SudanPeaceTracker.com. The mining boom has also wreaked havoc on Sudan's cultural and environmental heritage. Ancient Nubian sites like Sai Island and Kaderma are under threat from unchecked extraction. SudanIndependent.net. On the social front, the promise of gold has drawn in vast numbers of workers, including children in some areas. But their labor does not translate into better lives. Instead, many remain trapped in poverty, exploited by militias or mine owners, while their homeland endures environmental degradation and social fragmentation. Chapter 8. What this means for Sudan's future. Sudan's mineral wealth could have been a cornerstone for development, but instead it has become a battleground for foreign powers and armed groups. The gold fueling the war economy is siphoned off by international networks, warlords, and shadowy actors, not invested in infrastructure, education, or sustainable growth. For Sudan to break this cycle, greater transparency is essential. Mining must be regulated, revenues tracked, and smuggling routes shut down. International partners, including states benefiting from the gold trade, should be pressured to support accountability, not exploitation. Reform efforts, backed by civil society and global institutions, could redirect mineral wealth into rebuilding the country. Ultimately, Sudan's fate depends on whether it can turn its buried treasures into a foundation for peace, rather than letting them fuel endless conflict. Only then can those earth minerals become a blessing instead of a curse. Sudan's buried treasure, its gold, uranium, and other earth minerals, holds a promise. But far too often that promise is poisoning its future. What could be a foundation for national recovery and development has instead become a fuel for war and a wedge for foreign power. As we've seen, external backers are not just trading, they're betting on this chaos, funding it, and profiting from it, while ordinary Sudanese people bear the real cost. This isn't just a story of exploitation, it's a warning. When a nation's resources are captured by shadow networks, smuggling chains, and warlords, the people lose out. The gold that could rebuild hospitals, schools, or infrastructure instead buys weapons, stokes conflict, and entrenches suffering. Meanwhile, Sudan's cultural heritage and the health of its communities pay a bitter price. But change is still possible. For Sudan to turn its wealth into a force for good, for rebuilding, justice, and peace, it needs transparent institutions, strong governance, and international solidarity that doesn't reward predation. The world must move beyond merely condemning the war. It must demand accountability. Only then can this mineral wealth be transformed from a curse into a genuine opportunity. Sudan stands at a crossroads. The question is, who will control its riches, and will its people ever get to share in their value?